Hello everybody, this is HD Shaves here. I'm back with the video. Hope this finds you well and in good spirits. Well, I had been using variations of Old Spice soap and aftershave this week, but I decided, you know what, let's make sure that I use all of my full-sized Stirling soaps before the month is over for the Stirling March Madness. And the final one that I haven't shown to you yet this month is Island Man. So this is a dupe recreation of Creed's Virgin Island water, and I just learned, maybe you knew this already, but all the Stirling scents that are something man are based after Creed fragrances, and then if they don't have that in their name, then they're probably not a Creed fragrance, right? So this is what the soap looks like, nice and blue, and this definitely fits the island vibe. I am sure it's not a dead ringer for the Virgin Island Water original fragrance, but I would imagine it gets you kind of in the same ballpark. I'm going to be using the matching balm today. I'm going to be using the razor that you already know I'm going to be using today, and a return to the Stirling, Stirling helped imported into the US, but the Zenith Wetshaving 2022 sub-exclusive Zenith brush. Again, this is a 31 millimeter knot diameter with a 57 millimeter loft, and I haven't heard of any more of these coming up for sale, like extra ones or ones that people decide to pass on. But if you want to get a comparable, almost identical brush, I can recommend that you get the Zenith B35 from the Gentle Shave, which is a vendor here in the US. The brush has the same handle, except it's white, and the knot is the same dimensions. So check out the Zenith B35 if you're interested. Let's start loading the soap. So I realized that due to my travel schedule at the end of this month, this is probably going to be my last actual video where I shave my face. That's a weird way to put it, but this is probably my last actual shaving video for the month, and I hope to return towards the end of the first week of April. So like maybe post another video like that on the 6th, the 7th or something. I'm going to try to put up a video for you next week that is not directly me shaving, but is a sort of informational video that some of you have requested. I'm going to do my best to get that up. I think it's possible. I'm not going to guarantee it, but I would say we've got, I don't know, 60% chance of that actually happening. So to fill you all in on what's going on, I'm very excited to be doing a little mini tour, a little vacation too built in. Next weekend I will be in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm very excited to see one of my closest musical cohorts. Those of you who have listened to my album that I always send to people when they say, hey, can I listen to an album of yours? And I send them this one that is a group that starts with the letter V. This is the guitarist from that group. So I've known him for, I think we're coming up on 10 years this year. And he is or has been a professor at the University of Tennessee, but he will be leaving at the end of this term. And so when he told me that a while back, I said, you know what, I need to go see him there before he's not there anymore, right? Because it'll probably be a while before he comes back. So it'll be great to reconnect with him. We have a gig Saturday night at a place in town, so that'll be great. And then I'm continuing from there to Mexico City, which some of you know is one of my favorite places in the whole world. I do still dream of maybe moving there one day, perhaps when I'm older and don't have to worry about making it month to month with bills and things like that. I haven't been to Mexico City in, I think it's been 4 years, which may not seem like a while, or that, yeah, it may not seem like a while, but for reference, when I used to live in Texas, partially due to the kinds of musicians I was working with at that time, I went down to Mexico City a couple times a year. So I think this will be like my 8th or 9th trip down there. And there's just something really beautiful about that city. And I think I wish it were a place that Americans would go to more often, rather than the beaches and the more resort kind of towns. There's a lot of history in Mexico City, and it's just really a wonderful place. So I'm looking forward to going there, have one concert. It's not really a concert, it's a gig. I have a gig in Mexico City one of the nights, and then I'm going to a neighboring state another night to play at a Swiss restaurant, which I thought was kind of funny, given that I just got back from Switzerland. And I'm really hoping that the owner is some Swiss expat that found himself living in kind of the center part of Mexico. And I hope I can talk with them and, talk about all things Swiss, right? So, yeah, that's where I'll be for the last like 10 days of this month. Knoxville and then Mexico City. So that's why I say I think this will be my last shaving video for the month. And I will certainly take pictures and post some sort of recap video once I'm back. And really looking forward to that. Lather's coming along really, really well here. And I think let's get one more water addition as the lather rolls down the handle. Let's get one more on. It's always amazing how good Stirling's products can perform, considering the price point and the scent variety that they usually offer. Also to support a company that's as well liked as they are. I think that's really quite valuable. So the razor that's been hiding, but you already knew what it was, the Karve Overlander. I just put in a fresh Polsilver Super Iridium, which doesn't happen that often these days. I use a blade for a couple dozen, and then I just decided, let's put in a new blade today. So here we go for the first pass with the Overlander. So I already talked about the travel. I guess I can talk about the weather now. So weather has been up and down, not that far up. I mean, I think yesterday we got to 50, which felt rather spring-like. But today, Thursday, we're expecting a little dip in the temperatures, some rain. And then I think Saturday is going to be quite cold, like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, overcast, windy, all those typical things that you become familiar with if you live here for a while. I've started doing these free 5K races in the city in the past month or so. It's a really cool organization in that they partner up with some parks in the city. We got lots of parks here, and the races are always free. So that's a really cool thing. And they have one usually every Saturday during the non-holiday months. And something I learned when I went to the first event, and of course someone there that was representing the organization gave a little kind of talk before we started running, and she mentioned how a lot of the races that happen here are cost prohibitive, or they're in really kind of isolated neighborhoods that, or not isolated neighborhoods, I should say isolated kind of suburbs that aren't necessarily the easiest to get to or the most welcoming. So that's something I thought about, and this lady kind of put it in more brass tacks kind of terms. But anyway, if we can keep these races free, keep them within the city, which is very well connected to public transit and, you know, roads and things like that. If we can keep it in the city, keep it free, then that's going to welcome people from all aspects of life to race, right? Which it's silly. Why? I mean, it's I was pondering, what would my ancestors think if I were, you know, taking time out of a Saturday morning to go like run, you know, in a park a few times. It seems kind of crazy, right? But it's like, because it is crazy, why should it cost money or be difficult to become a part of? So that was sort of my full circle thought process on that. Okay, first pass done. Gonna rinse and come back for pass number 2 in just a moment. Hang in there. Pass number 2 with Island Man. I almost forgot to mention that this brush has broken in beautifully. I don't feel like it's difficult to work with anymore. Just, you have to load it like it owes you money, or load it like you hate it. Okay, here's the second pass cross, mostly. And here's something that might relate to more of you than running in a city or playing gigs. Man, does anybody else feel like this year has just started to spiral off in terms of work-related things? I remember thinking at the very start of January that, this might be kind of a slow year. And I couldn't imagine it, you know, picking up to like summer busyness, you know, levels. But really this whole month, we're a little over halfway through it now, right? This whole March has been just, really, really busy with my couple teaching jobs that I juggle, and I've started doing interviews and started hiring for one of those agencies. And so, yeah, it just feels really, really busy, and maybe you feel the same way in your line of work. I know some people feel it right when the new year starts and they have to go back to work perhaps after a long holiday break. But for us musicians, we pick up so many weird gigs, Christmas parties, Hanukkah parties, whatever. In December, but then as soon as January hits, it's like all those gigs go on pause, right? So I don't think any of us really feel like the start of the year is particularly crazy. It just takes some time for us to build back up, you know. Okay, I'm going to do my final rinse and come back for the third pass. Third pass with Island Man. I've said it before on this channel, I'll say it again. I really don't think it matters on your final third pass if your lather is this thin, provided that it is not dry. If it still feels pretty wet and the brush is moving easily, then I don't think it really matters. how it looks necessarily for the third pass. Definitely matters more at the beginning, in my opinion. So there are, I think, 80, the number I saw was 83 tickets still left for the Maggard meetup. So that is, what, 2.5 months away now, which doesn't seem that far away at all. So if you've been waiting to buy your ticket, I would recommend you get one sooner rather than later. And, you know, it would be great if the number of tickets they have for sale equals to the number of people that want to come, right? So that way that nobody is left out. But like I said, I just have a suspicion that because the last meetup was in 2019, that this one is just going to be very busy and everyone's going to want to come. So I guess I've been proven a little bit wrong at this point. I guess at this point I could see tickets selling out maybe by April, end of April. But once again, I'm not trying to create artificial demand or something. You know, and you definitely don't want the situation where a bunch of people buy tickets fearing that they won't be able to buy one later, and then a bunch of those people end up having to cancel because they, you know, bought the ticket kind of with the wrong intentions or didn't fully consider their schedule, things like that. So that's the Maggard meat update. Just feeling around, seeing if there's anything else I can grab. This feels like a really good shave. Sometimes, you know, any first use blade can sometimes feel a little harsh, but I didn't notice that at all today. So good job to the Overlander and the Polsilver. Okay, I'm going to do my final cold water rinse for real this time, and then we'll come back and talk over post-shave. Stay tuned. Woo. Okay, for post-shave today, let's use the matching Balm Island Man from Stirling. I don't think you can really shake this up too much, but I always like to try. And with this stuff, you really don't need very much at all. So let's hope that I'm using about that much. And let's see how it does for us. I think the scent is pretty close between the two. I don't smell the cucumber like I did with Varen, which makes sense because supposedly that was due to oak moss and aloe, which this has aloe in it, but I don't think it's got oak moss, or not that much anyway. Yeah, and so that feels pretty good, and that's really, I mean, that was still a little bit too much balm, so you don't need much to get the job done. Okay, let's do a final recap. Island Man soap, balm, 4-ounce balm. I always forget if that's standard or if 3.3 100 mils is standard. I'm not sure. Sub-exclusive boar brush really is doing nicely rather. Happy with that brush. And the Karve Overlander, which I just can't get enough of, as you already know. Okay, thank you all so much if you made it this far in the video. Like I said, in terms of actual shaving, I won't see you again until April. So best wishes until then. And if I do put up that kind of informative video next week, it's not going to be like me telling you about my gigs and stuff. It's just going to be about the items at hand. So take care. This has been HD Shaves, and we'll see you again next time. Goodbye.